This video refers to some contributions in the internet concerning a flat Earth. The first part shows 3 video footages of the Sun, first short after sunrise, afterwards around noon and finally the sunset. The videos were taken with an HD camera from Sony with manual exposure and shutter speed, fully zoom as well as an infrared filter. During the course of the day one can observe the fact that the diameter of the Sun does not change, which clearly proves that the Sun does not fly toward or away from the observer, but circles around him. In the lower right corner of the video we can see the azimuth angle as well as the elevation angle of the Sun above the horizon. Both are computed with the help of spherical trigonometry formulas. The analog video recordings of the Sun confirm thereby the movement pattern. More after the video. If the Sun is flying over a flat Earth, the observer would notice the event in this way. I found also interesting the argument that an azimuthal equidistant projection is a proof for a flat Earth, however it is not. It is only one of many projections of a spherical Earth developed for different applications, and its center represents the North Pole. Another version is the Mercator projection, whose grid of the Earth is projected on a cylinder which touches the globe at the equator. There are also maps based on the Lambert projection, which represents length, forms and angles of the Earth's surface almost faithfully. For more types of projections, please consult the Internet. If the Earth were flat, all these projections are completely unnecessary. One could divide the Earth's surface into a squared grid, specify an Earth center, assuming the Earth is round like a pancake, and bingo. Another contribution, also using an azimuthally equidistant projection, where the Sun circles over a flat Earth, explains that the latitude of the Earth equator is by definition 0 degrees, and he divides the Earth into a northern and a southern hemisphere. How can you divide a flat Earth into two hemispheres? Also the explanation concerning the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, each 23.5 degrees north respective south of the equator, refer to a spherical Earth where the 23.5 degrees are measured from the center of the spherical Earth. Is the Earth now flat or maybe not? A further contribution mentions among other things also the sextant, who allegedly serves to measure the distance to the Sun, however you cannot. The sextant serves to determine the degree of latitude of the observer at 12 o'clock noon and therefore its position. For the calculation you need among other things a nautical almanac which refers to a globe. A still older navigation instrument is the astrolabio, which is also only working if the Earth is sphere. If you want to learn more about antique navigation methods and map work, I recommend reading the book Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings from Charles Hapgood. Then is there still another of the flat Earth friends using a map with azimuthal equidistant projection, drawing in a sun, including the range which the Sun illuminates on the Earth's surface, and thus provides a proof that the Earth is a ball, although he actually wanted to prove the opposite. On a flat Earth the Sun would illuminate the Earth's surface in such a way. Now to the flying time calculations, also mentioned as a supposed proof for a flat Earth. We pilots use two terms or quantities. One is the so-called loxodrome or same course navigation, and the orthodrome or great circle navigation. Which of the two navigation variants are flown by the pilot, depends among other things on the distance. Up to approximately 2,000 kilometers there is no noticeable difference. Afterwards it depends also in which direction the airplane flies and whether on the south, or northern hemisphere. The distance between two places on a globe is larger on the same course route than on the Great Circle route. The route on the same course is however simpler to fly, since during the entire flight only one course has to be maintained. Example, the same course distance between London and New York is 5,834 kilometers, while the Great Circle route however is only 5,593 kilometers, a difference of 241 kilometers, which naturally influences the flying time. During long-distance flights, the Great Circle route however is divided into same course sections. This short explanation tells you, hands-off flying times as proof for a flat Earth, because the two terms loxodrome and orthodrome are necessary since the Earth is a sphere. In the Internet you will find more detailed information about this issue. Why are there no airplanes visible on the so-called southern part of the flat Earth, on maps, for example, Flight Radar 24? Very simple, because down there probably are none or only few receptor stations connected to the Flight Radar 24 net which can receive the signal of the transponder of the airplanes. See in addition the web page. A further contribution refers to an azimuthally equidistant flat map of the world, allegedly attributed to the Persian astronomer Al-Biruni, 973 to 1048. One of his maps which I found was this one, which represents however rather a spherical Earth's surface in the well-known world at that time. A second one has also little to do with azimuthally equidistance. How could he have made an exact map of the entire Earth's surface, spherical or flat, perhaps with the help of a flying carpet? There are also statues erected in his memory. In one he holds in his hands a flat Earth, but no, holy shit, this is a globe. Also the moons he is juggling with are obviously balls. He was probably not a big friend of flat heavenly bodies. I won't ridicule anybody, because somehow we are all victims, but we should start to question certain information. I have no idea why for some time now the topic, flat or spherical Earth, is discussed in such a dogged way. Who or where did this discussion begin? In the meantime there are a series of contributions into it, and I must confess that some of the flat Earth friends have some good arguments to think about. However, let's keep a down-to-earth manner. Why right now? Mankind is at the present time in a transitional phase into a new level of consciousness which is for sure already known by many. Mankind constantly goes through development phases. Let's get back briefly about 600 years. Until approximately 1400 it was enormously difficult for artists and historians to depict in paintings and other graphics, buildings, or landscapes in an exact perspective manner. Until approximately this time the human brain could obviously only think in 2 dimensions, until one day someone discovered the vanishing point. From now on it was easy to think and visualize in 3 dimensions or in perspective. Was it also the time when the Earth turned suddenly into a sphere? A process, happen only in the brain? Why today do humans want to notice suddenly everywhere a flat Earth? Is this happen again only in the brain? Where on Earth is the vanishing point into the 4th dimension? A further consideration raises the question, has the whole something to do to divide mankind further? Now there are groups of flat Earth believers and spherical Earth believers who insult themselves mutually. By the way, there is still another group which believes unwavering that the Earth is a hollow sphere. The Christians are already divided into more than 30,000 sects, the Muslims also in some hundreds. Then is there the Buddhism, Hinduism, etc., etc., all with its subsidiaries. Then there are still the Reds, the Greens, the Lefts, the Rights, or those from the center. During the so-called Holy Inquisition entire regions, communities, and families were systematically dismembered. Among other things, parents accused their children of sorcery and vice versa children their parents.
Divide et impera.
Divide and control, an age-old play, and we are taken for a ride again and again. When do we understand finally that we can free ourselves only if we stand together? As conclusion, a graphic from Athanasius Kircher from the year 1671, one of many in the past who wanted to know in which universe we are actually living. Here comes still another one, William Blake, who wrote in 1804 in Jerusalem, I see sometimes the earth rolling into the abyss, sometimes standing in the center and sometimes stretching out flat into the space. Thus, the question is age-old, however until today nobody could give a satisfying answer. Neither can I. In this contribution I summarized some observations and thoughts, and I am open for any objective discussion. Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between, a flat earth in a fishbowl orbited by a sun. But where stands the fishbowl? The question seems to have some importance, however I believe there are other important topics which should be discussed in the internet, as for example the following contribution on YouTube, Chronology of Insanity and the Possibility to Change Course Through a Collective Consciousness. I know that since centuries we have been fed with lies and half-truths. But I also know the fact that we are descendants of survivors of an exceptional race that once had direct contact to God or gods, which could thousands of years ago construct gigantic buildings without cement and reinforced iron and which are standing still today. And I also know that someone tries desperately to prevent that we discover the truth who we really are. We have been degraded to descendants from apes and tried to breed us to slaves, who receive before every election the promises for more work in order to earn enough money necessary to pay of the debts of others. Here are some other interesting web pages. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you again in part 2. Stay positive and be blessed.